Hello, Dr. John, your physics and math professor, helping you with exam questions. And yes, these are taken from real-life exams in grade 11 pre-calculus. We want to here simplify and state any non-permissible values for these two rational expressions. What's a rational expression? It's one expression over another. The expressions can be square roots, they can be sine functions, all sorts of things. In this case, each of these are polynomials. Well, polynomials are very simple in that you can usually factor them or you can do something with them. So what we want to do is we want to try to figure out how to add this up and then simplify it. Now, to be able to do that, we probably first of all need to factor these two different denominators. Writing this up here, x squared plus 9x plus 20. We'll just try to break this up with really simple brute force factoring, which is always the way that you want to start these. Since these are both x squared, since this is x squared, these are both x's, that's simple enough. And then these are both pluses, so it has to be a plus and a plus. Now what works here? It has to multiply together to get you 20 and add up to 9. That's pretty straightforward. That's a 5 and a 4. So this here in the denominator, I'm going to write this out here just so we have it handy. There we go. I've written this out, this denominator factored out. Let's do the same thing with this one over here. Let's try to factor that the good old brute force method. This has to be an x, this has to be an x to make that. And since these are both pluses, this will have to be a plus as well. Now, what is it that multiplies together to get you 12 but adds up to 7? Those are, again, pretty straightforward. It's 3, and this is 4x, 3x, 7x, so that works. Let me write that right in here. We have everything factored, and we have everything written out neatly here. Now we check for any cancellation. Can anything from down here cancel up here? No. Anything from down here cancel up here? No. So to be able to add these two up, we're going to have a common denominator. And notice a couple of things here. We have this in common here, but we don't have this x plus 3 over here, and we don't have this x plus 5 over here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to multiply this side by this x plus 5, and we're going to have to multiply this side by the x plus 3. I'm going to do that over here, and I'm going to try to do that quite carefully so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to start off with this one here. This is x plus 8. Now remember, we wanted the common denominator, which means we're going to have to multiply this by what? X plus 3. So we have to multiply the denominator and the numerator by that. So I'll go like this. That will be our new numerator for this piece over here. And over here, we already have these two terms. We already have this term, so we're going to have to multiply by this term. And that way we're going to have these three terms as the denominator. These three terms multiplied together. But on the numerator here, we're going to have to add x plus 5 times another x plus 5. There we go. And we're going to have to do what here? Add these up and write them under a common denominator. The common denominator being all three of these together. X plus 5, x plus 4, x plus 3. Now we have the entire denominator and we have the numerator. Now we'll have to multiply out the numerator and see what we get there. We can do that piece by piece. I'm going to rewrite this denominator a little lower so I have room to work. So give me a second. All right, I rewrote this denominator, these three terms. I just shifted them down so I can erase this and I can have room to work. I'm going to write this bar right down here. There you go. That's the denominator. Now let's work on these things up here. First of all, we have an x squared term. And then we have a 24 term. Then the cross terms are 8x plus 3x, which is an 11x. That's these three terms. This one over here, we have plus x squared. That's this term times this, plus 25. That's these back two terms. And then the cross terms are 5x and 5x, or 10x. Simple as that. Now what we do is we combine like terms. When I do this, especially for longer operations, I will clearly mark what I'm doing. So I'm going to do that here as well. So I'm going to start off with this one. There's all the x squared ones. So that's going to be 2 x squareds. And then I'll make a different mark around the x things. So maybe I'll make a box like that. Like this. So those are all the x's. This is okay here, but if you have, say, 10 or 20 of these things all spread out on a page, you're going to lose what you're doing unless you clearly mark what's what. So I'm going to add these up. That's going to be 21. Just single x. And now we have just the numbers. And that's 49. Now you could in fact try factoring this as well. Let me just try it here really quickly. This would have to be a 2x and this an x. And since they're all positives, I have to make it a positive. And this would have to be a 7 and a 7 because it can't be a 49 and a 1 or the numbers are too big. So let's check it, 7 and a 7. The cross that works for the end terms, the cross terms are 7x plus 14x, 21x. It works. So there we go. We factored that. Now it doesn't really help us much because none of these cancels with any of these, but it does give us a nicely factored answer. This is the answer for it simplified. Now we want to state any non-permissible values. Well, non-permissible values are a little tricky with a problem like this because what you've done is you've done some cancellation here. You can't use your final answer for non-permissible values, although you need to look at it. For sure, you can, right here, x does not equal -3, -4, and -5. That's in the final answer because those are in the denominator. But now you also have to look over here to see if there's anything additional that maybe you canceled. This wasn't part of your original question, so I'm just going to erase this. So here we have the -4, -5, -3 here. So those are the same as there are over here. We didn't add anything. We didn't cancel anything out from here specifically. So these are the non-permissible values. I hope that helped. If it did, like and subscribe. Check out my next video.